Hey friends, welcome back to Getting Close Up, the show focused on independent artists and creatives. I'm your host, Danielle Cox. My guest today is everything, and I mean that. A singer, wordsmith of a songwriter, producer, actor, a true performer all around. Today we are getting close up with the one and only Stephonne. Hello.
Hello.
I love how excited you are.
This is so great. Y'all are so great. You are so great. The show is so great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for wanting to be on. I appreciate that.
What an introduction. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I try to think it through and I mean it.
Yeah.
Like 100%. You are everything. You have so much that you do. And it makes you kind of awestruck. Like, honestly.
To be seen. Thank you for seeing me.
Thank you for being out here to be seen. And when you're seen, you are seen, okay?
Ha!
Because T...
Okay!
T was at a show, and that is how he got introduced to you. And was like, okay, we need to have this person on the show. Because they just, out loud, the way you present your stage persona, everything. Like, it just radiates confidence and individualism. Have you always been that confident, though?
I think it's been a process. I think it's been a lot of failure or perceived failure that was actually opportunity.
Yeah, touch on that.
Reflection and growth on life and focus and just reorienting myself. And I would say like a really huge influence for me is obviously Prince. And
it's very obvious. It pours through and I love it.
My goodness. When I was a little kid and I saw Prince, my family were just music junkies. And so my mom and my dad, that was one of the huge ways that they connected. So we would always go to record stores every weekend, and we had this record player and this expansive just collection of vinyl and CDs and tapes that just like went up to the ceiling in these shelves in the living room. And
that's awesome.
It was incredible. And VHSs of performances, and my dad would sometimes play these performances over and over again, especially if it was Michael Jackson, especially if it was Whitney. He would just pop in his VHS, you know, like probably not legally, you know, but when nobody worried about that.
Nobody worried about that. They gave you that little blurb when you put the tape in about this FBI. Well, nobody paid attention to
Child,
that.
bye.
I'm recording the FBI warning too.
Ha! What about that, FBI? What about that? But Prince was someone that was definitely always in the household and revered as the great that Prince is. And
yes,
I was a little like, when I first saw him in like in the panties and in the heels and the makeup, I was like, oh, whoa, what's that? But it's because I think I was so enamored.
Yes.
And so seen by that person existing. And so it is so important to just be yourself completely, even if you don't really understand who that is yet.
Exactly.
And you're just becoming, because someone is looking out for you and you are their cue to move. And heaven doesn't move until we move. Right? So
that's a whole word.
To see this man and all of his agency and all of his divine feminine energy and the balance of it all and the ownership of his sexuality and Vanity 6, and that was always just my thing. And I remember I would play records on BET or MTV or that my parents had, and I would just like sneak in the living room and I would be like dancing sexy and practicing my stripper moves. I've been doing this for a minute. Yeah, and my mom would come and be like, "Boy, what you doing? What you doing them stripper moves for?"
Like, hold on, yeah.
And I didn't know. But that was me.
It's what you felt and is what moved through you before you went, because children are so innocent. I think that's the thing. Is people don't understand how innocent children are. They are really just the purest version of themselves. And they change because we change them.
Yep.
And that's unfortunate.
And we feel we have to.
And we feel we have to make them into the versions of adults we think that'll be accepted
and
later
survive.
in life and be able to survive. Sometimes it is survival, and the criticism and critiques are meant to protect, but they actually kind of chip away at that surface. And so that was why just the way you present was just really striking, and I felt very important.
Yeah, I tried to, I think, be a lot of things that I wasn't throughout Catholic school, throughout high school, throughout growing up, because I wanted to be accepted. And I didn't realize that the path of a leader is a lonely path.
It's a very lonely path.
And that's okay, though, because in being lost, we find something, and we find something for others. And so even in those trials and those tribulations, and in trying to be these things to meet people's expectations and not meeting them, and falling down and having to gather myself back up,
right?
Not my identity, but myself, and look in the mirror and figure it out. I've walked through a lot of mud to figure it out and to come out clear. And I feel like I come out clearer every single day. And
every day that you look at yourself in the mirror and commit to being that version of you that you want to be that day.
That's it. And so that's where the representation, that's where the ownership of my sexuality on stage comes in. That's where the outfits and the lingerie come in. That's where the adoration of my body comes in.
Right.
And even before I was body, child, because I'm body, now. Okay.
That part is true.
I was still out here, in ways that maybe people were like, why is he half dressing like that? Why he think, because I'm a baddie, okay? And I've known it, and I knew it. And sometimes I think all the time, our highest self is guiding us through this life. And it's saying, come on, girl. Can I cuss?
Well, certain cuss words.
Okay. Well, come on, girl. Like, come for the ride. Trust me. Put that on. Present yourself this way. Sing that.
Yeah.
Write this lyric down. Get up and go record this. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks, because I see the big picture.
And that's the thing. It's the big picture is always hovering above you in that version of yourself. And you mentioned Catholic school, which segues into one of the things I wanted to talk about in one of your most recent releases. Forgive Me, Father.
Yeah.
Now, and in parentheses, Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
Which I understand the connection between the two, but I want you to talk about your thoughts behind it, because I think your Catholic upbringing might have a lot to do with that. Am I correct?
It does. I grew up always queer, always questioning priests and nuns, and being met with being told that I was asking destructive questions. Them not really having answers, and so that's why it was distracting and destructive, But I just knew that there had to be more to God and to life than holding him up in some monstrance behind an altar and saying that this is the only place that you can go find him. Through this priest, through this confessional, is the way that you're redeemed. This is the path. All of these other paths are, we are the chosen. Like, everyone is chosen. And I was always really inquisitive and found a lot of books, and I would go to the library and I would read about other spiritualities and religions, and I would see the similarities and the parallels.
There's a lot of
and
parallels.
I found out about the origin of Catholicism and really of Christianity. Honestly, I'm not with the fire and the brimstone, but I am with the self-actualization and also the awareness that we are not alone and that God is always with us. And I'm just really tired of Christian nationalism.
That's a big thing.
And white people participate in it, brown people participate in it, Black people participate in it.
And it shows up in the imagery in the video. Because we were watching it and it was just like, it was so striking. Like, you touch on so many things in that. Talk to me about the concept behind the video, because you kind of hit on the identity thing, politics, sexuality, the lack of curiosity, even imagery that some people might think is, you know, people will use the word demonic and things like that.
Right.
Like, talk to me about the choices that you made in that video.
It's taken me a really long time to accept that music is my ministry and my redemption. And I think when you're told that you're disordered and that you are a problem as a gay person, or as a queer being, or even just as a Black person, you start to doubt why you're here or the importance of why you're here. And I lost a lot of faith, I think, because I thought it was so just rooted within traditional religious structures. And I just identified it with that. And then the more I lived life and the more I found God where I was picking me up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, like, this is a personal path. This is my journey.
Yeah.
Like, this is my faith. And so when you see me in a priest costume, and still my lingerie, child.
Right, that part.
I may not look like your typical minister. I may not look like your typical priest, but I am qualified, and I am here, and I'm here and qualified to speak on my testimony and what I've been through and how I've been able to transcend and help other people transcend and see the God within themselves, no matter how queer they are or what color they are or how sexual they are or what they've been through. And I think growing up and seeing Sinead O'Connor rip up that photo of the Pope was just so pivotal.
And the backlash, the amazing level of backlash.
And so I also, parentheses, Sinead O'Connor, people are like, it's a cover. And I'm like, no, it's not a cover. Sinead O'Connor doesn't have a song that sounds like this anywhere in the discography. But to me, it's like our Joan of Arc. It's like our warrior for true personal faith and spiritual development and freedom.
Speaking truth to power.
And so I wanted to tribute her. And then Josh Hawley.
Makes an appearance.
Look up Josh Hawley if you don't understand white Christian nationalism and what people are talking about. And if you don't understand how our government has been hijacked by these agendas that are using the name of God in heaven in vain, saying that you don't belong there and that God is not yours and that you should go to hell. And it's just so twisted. And so when I ripped that picture up of Josh, it is a nod to Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
And also there's this parallel between these religious leaders, but also these congressional leaders, you know, like
it's a lot. It gets very, very, very deep, and things are woven in very deep. But you also, on top of having these powerful messages about speaking truth to power and about spearheading not only your individualism for individual sake,
right,
but for the sake of other people recognizing they're not inherently bad, you also have messages of uplift and of joy, and how much it is a protest in and of itself to have joy, because your other song is going to be all right.
Yeah.
Just, it's like, it's the sun peeking through the clouds. I want to know from you what is behind It's Gonna Be All Right. It sounds but I want to hear from you.
I think my purpose is to shine light. Self-accountability is very important, and gratitude is so important. And I because of some things I've been through in my life, a lot of things that I've been through in my life, found it really hard to be grateful for a period of time in my life. And I would say the pandemic really like reset everything for me.
It did for a lot of artists.
I went and started therapy.
Yeah.
And just had some real breakthroughs and cried for the first time in forever.
Because you were really by yourself, so you didn't feel bad about crying.
That was it.
Because it's just you.
It was just me. And that's also something, like, we're just so afraid to be alone and sit with ourselves and listen to that, like, silent voice, that still and quiet voice.
Yeah. It's really, really important. It is.
Meditation, reflection is so important. And that's what the pandemic did for me. And it helped me really just take stock of my life and of gratitude. And I think that's what's behind It's Gonna Be All Right. And I know it to be true. Like, I know that the storm is coming, but the storm will end and that the sun is going to shine.
Now, you said something very important about gratitude and about how the realizations if you had as an artist. How has that translated over into how you produce for other artists and working on music with other artists?
I would say that...
Because you had a record label. Is it still active? Or?
Yeah. So I really just focus on my stuff through it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say It's Gonna Be All Right is a collaboration with a co-songwriter named Sean M. Stewart, who I co-wrote Rocket in My Pocket with.
Oh, yeah.
And that has been just a blessing to, just have ownership over my masters and over my intellectual property and my publishing.
Yeah.
And I went to Full Sail University for entertainment business right after music at Benedictine College because I just knew it was paramount for me to understand the business. And from just studying the stories of Prince and studying the stories of Whitney Houston and Tina Turner and et cetera,
those stories are very important if you want to learn how to hold on to your own
James
music.
Brown.
Like, Prince was a pioneer in that for sure.
So it was just very important to me to have that comfortability and that agency and autonomy so that I could be free to work with others. And so I'm grateful for the knowledge that I have to be able to impart to the individuals that I work with, but also to receive it from them to become a better artist and a better business person and learn how to share ideas and be collaborative. So that song, It's Gonna Be All Right, and the one that's coming out soon.
Ooh.
I won't spoil it, but because I'm sure
we'll talk about it. We'll
talk about it.
We're gonna get to it.
But I'm just really grateful for Sean, and Sean is a songwriter that found me and my work in Kansas City and reached out to me. And I've been working with Shiloh, who is an incredible rapper. And we have some tracks that are just out of this world.
I'm excited for that.
We've been able to collaborate on like Highlander, and also he directed and shot the video for Forgive Me Father.
Yes.
And also
that was amazing. That video is amazing.
Thank you. I just like dreamed so much of it. I was into Stephen Arnold, this artist that did all of these incredible black and white assemblages, and had a lot of friends that died from AIDS, you know, and he eventually succumbed to that as well. But these beautiful portraits of them using all of these found materials. And so there's this shot in the video where it's almost like a painting, and you see like this halo of wooden beads around me. And I just kept having these dreams of this video and what it was supposed to be, and honoring different traditions of spirituality and spiritualism and
it's like
ancestors,
like
and
hoodoo imagery and spiritualism and a lot of different things they were all tacking in there with the undertone of the Catholicism, which is also very imagery driven and token driven, and people don't think about the similarities there, but it's like the imagery in it is so strong.
But yeah, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I didn't or haven't yet embarked on some kind of a major record deal because of all that I've been able to learn to prepare me for
Have you ever tried for
world
that?
touring. I definitely have, you know, and I think what I realized was that I was okay.
You could do it for yourself.
I could do it for myself.
Because you do a lot. You work on, again, I've said this already, but you've been on, you know, vice chair for
a Kansas City Folk Festival, yeah.
For major festivals in the city. You're on your stuff. Talk to me about how you prioritize and organize. Because things you've told me, let me know where a lot of that business mindset came from. You started very early. But talk to me about how you keep things together.
Well, I would say that putting myself in situations like Kansas City Folk Festival and serving on a board for 2 years really taught me about planning and preparation and all that needs to happen, and the communication and the respect that you have to have for other people when you're dealing with multiple opinions and multiple spirits and multiple wants to create the best thing possible.
How is that opened up doors for you, just being so on your stuff like that?
I think your reputation in the unseen builds a reputation that cannot be shaken by the seen and that no man can put asunder.
There you go.
So the stuff that we do or don't do in private shows in public. And the way that we work with one another and the way that we show up and the way that we prepare and show up, maybe when others haven't prepared, speaks volumes. And what I've learned is that you can just do so much less of this and just act and be, once you've like taken the time within yourself to prepare and realize it and have your business in order and ask the questions and show up and make sure that there's clear communication. There's been a lot of non-clear communication and a lot of people that I think are afraid to speak honest and truthful.
Very much
and so then you run into situations where so-and-so, when Stephonne is angry or Stephonne's upset or what did I do? And it's like, okay, right. So we're not going to repeat that.
Right.
We're going to take stock of it, and we're going to go into the next situation and the next lesson, and we are going to pass that test, and we are going to treat that person and trust them to be who they are, but also we're going to hold them to the word, right? So I've learned a lot in the purpose. And so if it's not aligned, it's not aligned, but being in alignment myself and doing the internal work, and I think decluttering my life and decluttering my spirit, like I said, it just radiates and then it comes to you.
Now, you talked about having some more music coming out.
Yeah.
So at least by the time this interview comes out, you have some more music coming out and an upcoming sophomore LP.
Yeah.
So let's get into what that looks like. What are some of the main ideas that you have that are going into that project?
I think I'm definitely talking about faith more than I've ever talked about faith and touched on, and it's just so important. But I think, again, that's my ownership of this as my ministry. And just as a fellow human being that wants people to be human at all cost and see the best in one another, and cultivate the best within themselves. So there's that. There's also a lot more taking on of politics. I wouldn't say in like a very like super point fingery way. I think it's just alluding to divine right and colonialism and
which were all things tied to religion.
Divine sovereignty and oh my gosh, manifest destiny, child. So I'm hitting on those topics, and I feel like also effortlessly just writing pop songs that are just so true to me and so true to queer life, but also that are taking all of these different pop culture references that'll just flow to me. and I'll put them down, and then I'll get to my MIDI, and I'll get to GarageBand, and I'll make my demos and do everything from scratch and figure out the chords and put all the lyrics together. And I look back, I listen back. Like, I just wrote a song called Lions and Tigers and Bears. And oh my,
I wasn't gonna miss that opportunity.
And I
just in case I was wondering.
I didn't even realize, like, hey, I'm from Kansas.
Yeah, that part.
B, the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
like, clicking your ruby heels and slippers together, like, red heels are a big part of my stage aesthetic, you know? I love the color red. It's my favorite color. It's always been my favorite color. That movie has meant the world to me, and I've always just been trying to click my heels and come back home. Like, with every single move of my feet, with every single beating of my heart, I've been trying to figure out what home means to me. And so I think what you hear in these songs is someone that is finally in their sanctuary, that is finally continuing to build it brick by brick because they know where they are. They are here, they are present, and they are
brick
becoming...
by yellow brick.
Brick by yellow brick.
See how that just...
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and in another demo called Hello LA, there's a lot of stuff that I've written over, the past 5 years. Some of that stuff is going to make it onto the sophomore LP. And
are you constantly writing?
I'm constantly writing, but I would say that it takes this knowing. There's like a sense of stuff building up or life happening and you just experience it, which is also why I really am such a fan of the music industry of yesterday, because artists did have the luxury of taking 2 or 3 years between albums.
Yeah, it was a lot more space. It was less of a machine. It was starting to be a machine.
But they, no matter how imperfect it was, the artists that I loved were able to go away, experience life, and then come back fresh and with something new and with a more colored palette, with a wider palette. And I've never been in a rush for releases. I think if you look at my discography, like, you can see that I'm not chasing.
But you still have a lot of content.
I do have a lot of content, and it's so beautiful to experience moments like this, and to have moments like the Charlotte Street Award, and to have moments like KCUR highlighting a tiny desk, or Mark Manning on KKFI, like, listing all of these things that I've done, because you're right. You just keep going and you just keep doing it. And I just have been becoming me. Yeah.
I love that you have so much going on, because it's keeping us entertained. It's keeping us in the wheel.
Oh!
Now,
come on.
The last thing I want you to do is I want you to get over to our wall of fame and put your little signature up there and make your mark. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
So why don't you get yourself on over there and do it?
Okay.
Again, many thanks to my guest, Stephonne, for joining me today. If you had as much fun as we did, and I know you did, because he spoke a whole word today. We received it up in here. Amen. Amen. New episodes are getting close up air bi-weekly on Fridays. We also release the podcast version on all streaming platforms. You'll get a few little extras if you listen, okay? It's a little bit longer than those YouTube versions, so do both. Thank you guys for watching. You're the best part of all of this, and I will see you again soon for another Close Up. I'll be checking for you. Bye.